Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. How are you, Saleh and Saleha? Hope you're fine and then you find it too fine, of course. And then may Allah always bless us and then give himself for us. All right, today we are going to talk about speaking skill and then our material related to the story of car or the story of transportation, specifically for car. All right, Ustazah two videos to watch. The first videos in English and the second videos in Bahasa. So you can find some information that you need, and then for information, maybe you can search on Google, I mean, and then you can find the difference, the first video and the second video. Of course, totally about story of car, and then let's look at together the first video about the cars in English.
With each successive attempt building on top of the previous incarnation. Who invented the first car?
Okay,
let's find out. This is Wheelhouse. Ferdinand Verbiest was a Jesuit missionary hanging out in Peking with the Kangxi Emperor. When he wasn't doing astronomy or working on the calendar, he was tinkering in the garage, inventing gadgets to entertain the emperor. He was basically the first car boy. His coolest invention by far was a 2-foot-long cart with a primitive steam engine on.
So the best thing came to this that someone that think that but only the car into the toy car, but the toy car the best of it take for the use for the making of cards. Let's look.
Board. I guess technically that made him a cart boy. And made the car move. Ferdinand had technically invented an automobile, but it was pretty small, so you couldn't ride it. So it wasn't really a car.
So the first time, of course, about the steam engine atau mesin uap, base-nya from dari yang sebelumnya, dari yang ini yang mengatakan bahwa ia mengambil konsep pembuatan mesin uap itu dari sini, tapi mereka membuatnya kayak konsep dasarnya itu dari mobil mainan, kemudian di praktek to the real car di mobil uap at the time. Let's see.
Steam engines came to prominence in the 1700s, and it was only a matter of time before someone built a full-size machine that followed the principles of Verbiest's toy cart. French inventor Nicolas Cugnot did just that in 1769 with his Fardier à vapeur. And if I mispronounce that, you can sue me because I took Spanish in high school. Shouts out. But the gargantuan size, the top speed, kind of disappointed production. But people have built working recreation of Cugnot's design, and they're pretty sweet. The front-mounted steam engine looks weird as hell, but there's a visible progression from Ferdinand Verbiest's toy cart to Cugnot's machine almost 100 years later. But like the toy cart, the Fardier was not a car either. Steam engine technology progressed through the 19th century. In 1801, Richard Trevithick unveiled his Puffing Devil, which wasn't his bong, but a steam locomotive for the road. Trevithick was basically illiterate for his entire life, but loved working on machines. The Puffing Devil was powered by a strong steam engine, similar to those used on riverboats. This updated design made the engine much smaller, but more prone to boiler explosions. The Devil's first test run was on Christmas Eve when it successfully climbed up a gentle slope in Cornwall. A few days later, Trevithick took the Devil out for another drive, but for whatever reason, forgot to put out the fire in the boiler and left the Devil just sitting outside. With all this heat and steam building up with nowhere left to go, pressure in the tank skyrocketed. And then, pop!
Wow, and then this one.
You know, sometimes you smoke the Puffin' Devil. Kind of cars considered the first Eve, but it was just a toy. Nicolas Cugnot realized the practical application of self-propelled travel but was never able to mass produce it. And the Puffing Devil kind of made people think twice about steam engines because it exploded.
You can
So
see and here say too cumbersome for mass production. And then for the first Ferdinand Fabes, and just say just a toy card. Yes, and then let's see the difference.
Kind of made people think twice about steam engines because it exploded. So what would make the car a car? Well, it has to be big enough to hold passengers, practical enough that it can replace the horse and wagon, and it has to be reliable enough that it doesn't just blow up. Is there any early invention? Ken Lenoir invented the first commercially successful internal combustion engine. Being an inventor like the rest of these guys, he decided to attach his engine to a cart. Boom! Car! The three-wheeled Lenoir Hippomobile, that's what he called it, made the 11-mile journey. Just an honor goes to a guy named Carl Benz. German patent number 37435 was awarded to Carl Benz and its motorized carriage on January 29, 1886. The Benz patent cc engine produced 2/3 of a horsepower at 230 RPM. If the Benz kind of looks like a tricycle, that's because Carl was a huge cyclist and even ran a repair shop before working on the motor wagon. The tricycle layout made more sense to Benz over a four-wheel carriage because it would be less complicated, lighter, and easier to steer. Benz worked on his design for years. It was better to borrow the motor wagon when horse. Fortunately for Carl, his wife took matters into her own hands. In the summer, when Carl wasn't looking, she and her two sons planned to make the 50-mile journey from Mannheim, had to adjust the carburetor and make other repairs, made it to Grandma's the automobile. Bertha's drive was monumental in pushing.
Okay, that's the first video. Let's move to the next videos. Ustaz will show up to you the next video about the. Let's see for the second videos, but the videos in Bahasa, so you can find how to say in English. And if you get problem, you can ask Ustaz Rahma and then let's see the videos.
Hey, masuklah. Saya akan bercerita di jalan. Saya sedang dikejar dan kita akan melompat ke masa lalu. Cepat. Aku akan tahu alasannya nanti. Baiklah, kita mulai dari awal sekali dan kita berkendara pelan karena jika tidak, kamu tak akan bisa melihat dengan baik. Lihat pohon apel itu dan seseorang di bawahnya. Jangan ganggu dia. Karena itu adalah Sir Isaac Newton. Ya, sang Sir Newton. Pada tahun 1687, dia menerbitkan karyanya, Hukum Gerak Newton. Bisa dibilang, hukum inilah yang dibutuhkan para insinyur mekanik untuk mulai berpikir tentang automobil. Namun, butuh hampir seabad sebelum keajaiban terjadi. Mari kita percepat. Dan disinilah kita, tahun 1769. Saya harus menurunkan kecepatan lagi karena kita menyalip kendaraan jalanan pertama dalam sejarah. Itu adalah mobil tenaga uap yang ditemukan oleh Nicholas Joseph Cunnel. Tujuan awalnya untuk keperluan militer. Mobil itu hanya punya 3 roda dan lebih mirip traktor dibanding mobil sungguhan. Sebab mesin uapnya memakan sebagian besar ukuran dan beratnya. Pastinya, itu adalah kendaraan yang berat. Hanya mampu bergerak dengan kecepatan 4 km per jam. Tapi itu merupakan terobosan. Dan di antara yang sukses ada kereta listrik yang dibuat oleh Robert Anderson di Skotlandia. Tahun berapa itu? 1839. Pegangan erat-erat, kita melaju lagi. Ini dia. Elon Musk? Oh, bukan. Maaf. Pokoknya, benda ini bergerak tak jauh lebih cepat dari pendahulunya yang bertenaga uap. Kecepatannya sekitar 6 km per jam. Tolong menyingkir dari jalan, ya. Pada saat yang sama, lihat ke sekeliling. Mobil uap ada di mana-mana. Tapi ini adalah hari-hari terakhir mereka. Karena pada tahun 1840, mereka akan dilarang di Britania Raya. Mereka terlalu berat untuk digunakan di jalan biasa. Saya akan membawa kita melompat ke tahun 1845 sekarang. Tunggu, itu dia. Lihat, sebuah jalur kereta api sedang dibangun di kejauhan. Itu adalah hasil dari larangan mobil uap. Mobil layak pakai pertama ditemukan pada tahun 1886. Dan ada 2 orang yang berperan. Mari kita lihat. Kita sedang berada di Jerman. Lihat mereka? Di sebelah kiri adalah kendaraan roda 4 yang lebih tradisional buatan Gottlieb Daimler yang juga tidak dijual. Di sebelah kanan adalah mobil bertenaga bensin yang dibuat oleh Carl Friedrich Benz. Mobil ini punya 3 roda dan tidak pernah dijual. Keduanya adalah eksperimen insinyur yang berbakat, dan seperti yang akan kamu lihat sebentar lagi, keduanya cukup sukses. Kita baru saja melompat ke tahun 1891 yang membangun modal awal mereka untuk menjualnya. Tapi, jika maju ke tahun 1901, kita akan melihat mobil Mercedes pertama yang dirancang oleh Wilhelm Maybach, mitra bisnis Daimler. Omong-omong, amatilah sekitar kita dengan baik. Lihat, belum ada banyak mobil yang menyebabkan macet, tapi umumnya bentuk mereka sama. Itu adalah Benz Velo, mobil pertama yang diproduksi dalam jumlah besar dan dengan bentuk serupa. Sebelumnya, setiap mobil punya bentuk unik, dan kamu bahkan bisa menemuinya saat ini. Sekarang, mari kita bergerak cepat melintasi Amerika Serikat. Di sini, pada tahun 1893, tentunya sebelum masa kita saat ini, mereka telah menjual puluhan limosin mahal yang jarang kamu lihat di antara kerumunan kereta tanpa atap. Dengan mobilnya akan berada di puncak dunia otomotif dalam 3 tahun ke depan. Produksi massal Henry Ford yang paling terkenal, Tin Lizzie. Berkat lini perakitan yang canggih, untuk merakit satu model T hanya dibutuhkan 93 menit. Bayangkan, apa yang terjadi dengannya dalam, katakanlah, 20 tahun? Mari kita lihat. Ini dia, tahun 1927, dan itu favorit saya. Lihat, model T yang menuruni bukit itu, sebenarnya ia naik, tapi bergerak mundur. Bahan bakar mengisi mesin dengan bantuan gravitasi, dan gigi mundur memberinya lebih banyak tenaga saat berada di lereng. Di dekade, kemacetan bahkan lebih parah, tapi setidaknya kita tidak terjebak di dalamnya. Oh, wow. Lihatlah mobil keren itu. Itu Duesenberg Model J. Mobil Duse ini.
Ustazah stop for this video, and then you can see the difference and then the story about the first car, and then now the first car use steam engine and mobil uap, kemudian something happens, and then we can see the revolution of the car, and then you can see one of the discover explode, the car explode atau meledak. That's one of the discovered, and then Ustazah hope that you can search for more information about the story of cars. And then the first thing that you have to mention, say salam, mengucapkan salam sebelumnya, kemudian you have to tell your name, full name, and then your class, and then school, and then the next means that you have to tell the story of the car for the beginning until now, and then now you can see the kinds of car, ada bus, ada truck, and then you can see taxi maybe. Yeah, that's the kinds of car. And then the last, after you explain, don't forget to say, to close your presentation or your video by salam. Yeah. Oh, Ustazah want to remind you one thing, that too much people or too much students say I'm from grade 6th grade. No, don't say I'm from, just use for reference to, misalnya saya dari Malaysia, it means that I'm from Malaysia. If you want to say your grade or your class, you just need to say like this, I'm 6th grade ICP Abu Bakar As-Siddiq Al-Biruni Mandiri School. Yeah, that's all. Thank you so much for your attention, and then I hope that you enjoy and you can get ideas, some edits from my videos. And then the last, I say thank you so much, and assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. See you. Assalamualaikum.